Hey there, welcome back to the vlog. Today I'm filming from Mimitoka Forest Park where we're making a short film. Come along and have a look. So, got a couple of boys here who are basically spending the day lifting and carrying heavy shit all the time, I think.
We love it.
Well, they're pretty much right.
That's pretty much sums up the job, I think.
Yeah,
that's making it sound nice.
Yeah, that's what filmmaking is all about, is carrying heavy shit around and moving things from place to place, and occasionally you actually shoot some footage as well. Right, for this film they got a caravan, which is great because we've got somewhere to put stuff that we're not using at the time, and a producer. So, unlike a lot of films that I work on today, I'm not directing, I'm not doing any camera work, I'm not doing any lighting, I'm just doing some practical smoke effects. The film's called Inside the Cloud and it's being directed by a friend of mine, Ash, who you'll meet in a wee while.
Henry! That was a good one.
This is our second unit director here. This is Henry, just wandering around here behind me. Hey Henry. As long as you do what you're told, Henry will be fine. Well, such is the nature of filmmaking. I've been sitting around having some wonderful conversations with some absolutely lovely people for about 3 hours now, and the shot that I was supposed to be doing the effects for today so far has got pushed back till Sunday. That's another 2 days away. So we've got some more stuff to do tomorrow, as long as the schedule stays as it is, and I'll be back then, and I believe we've got a couple of drone shots then as well. So I'll head back home now, get myself some dinner, do some editing as you do, and go over a judder in the road, and we'll come back and we'll pick up the filmmaking tomorrow and hopefully get some sort of behind the scenes and on the set stuff as well, which should be fun. While I'm on my way out of here, I'll get some B-roll as well of the area that we're filming in, so you can see this absolutely awesome place that we're filming in. So this is where we're filming today, and as you can see, it's a pretty awesome location. I'm just on my way back now to the campsite to get the smoke machine and generator and lug that all the way back up this path. Okay, it's now 1:33 in the afternoon. We've been shooting this short film for a few hours now, and walking lots of gear back and forth, and I'm just going back to get another load of gear to walk it back, and then I'm going to walk the Jenny back again. And I was just looking at my Apple Watch exercise rings, and I've so far done 67 out of my 30 minutes for the day, so I don't think I'm going to have any trouble closing those ever famous rings today somehow, or sleeping tonight. Right, keep going. can't show you a lot about what we're doing in this movie on the vlog, but I can show you this, where we've got the hazer going now and trying desperately to push the smoke against the prevailing wind. Needless to say, it's not working terribly well, but it is extremely funny.
Is it poisonous?
No. It's all FDA approved, actually. So how long does somebody spend training for a job like this?
Years, in fact. Many a year was spent studying. Finally graduated, and here we are.
We're actually wanting the smoke to be going the other way, but the weather seems to have other ideas. But that's why we've got the specialist here. The previous blanket we were using was just one by the Woodland Elves. We've upgraded to an Old Dory blanket now, which is obviously from the Elder Elves, and it's a lot more magical power in it to affect the weather and the prevailing winds. And as you can see, the fog's going in the right direction. So there you go, you just got to get the right elven blanket and you'll be fine. So I'm expecting people up here in about, actually about 10 minutes ago, but no one's arrived yet, so we'll see what happens very, very shortly. Should be a whole crowd of cameras and props and costumes and actors and all that sort of thing sort of piling around me. But at that point I won't actually be able to do this, so I thought I'd get it out of the way now. Now, what I wanted to talk about today with the vlog is shooting in remote locations, because quite often I'm finding people are finding these absolutely beautiful spots like this around me and wanting to make their films here, but there's no power. It's usually a long walk in. Very seldom do you actually find that they've thought about transport to the set, so you get a lockdown place and then suddenly you've got to get a whole team of people carrying stuff in. And the point of today's vlog is talking about things that you can do to minimize the impact of gear that you need to carry in and the type of stuff that you can optimize and take a lot of the work away, working smarter, not harder. Now there's a lot of things that you can do with that when you're shooting out in the wilderness, and the first thing you're going to want to do is get all your gear together and then go through it item by item and say, am I really going to use this? Can we improvise without it? And what can we do, to not need so much stuff? One thing you definitely can't do without when you're working in a remote location out in the middle of the wilderness, and that's power. You need batteries, you need a generator, potentially. In the case of most cameras today, and even a lot of lighting gear and your sound equipment, they can all be run off batteries, and that's really good. So collecting as many batteries as you can, and high capacity ones that do the job really well, that's one of the key things that you're really going to want to do. If you've got things that use a lot more power, you're going to perhaps want to bring in a generator like we have today. That was that great big yellow mass that was sitting next to me just before. And you're going to need 2 or 3 people at least to bring something like that in if you're travelling more than a few hundred metres from a car park. If you possibly can, compromise on your set a little bit. You can usually find somewhere that looks exactly the same as your ideal set, but is a lot closer to civilization, especially if you're going to need to set up a lot of bright lighting, or if you want to shoot at night with artificial lighting for really awesome smoky moonlight effects or something, horror story-ish. If you possibly can, make sure you've got drive-on access, especially if you're using a Jenny or something like that. Now for camera batteries, you can't go past the V-Locks. They're not cheap though. They're looking between $600 and $800 or $2,000 a pop for a single battery. They will last you a hell of a long time. On saying that, you'll probably go through 2 or 3 of them on a camera or a light each day. So make sure that you figure out how many batteries you're going to need, and then get a couple more just in case, because obviously when you're out here you can't charge them up again. You may need to look at, say, a runner to get back and forth to civilization, to somewhere where you've got a power point that you can charge them up from. If you're going to charge up batteries from a generator, make sure that your generator has a stabilized power signal, and that your charging equipment can run off a generator. Not all of it can, and a lot of people forget this, and they often cook some very, very expensive equipment. So double check all this. If you're not sure, talk to your manufacturer. Quite often they'll answer an email in a day or two, and save yourself from cooking things that cost a lot of money. Well, as soon as I finished recording that last bit I just did, everybody turned up in a huge rush and everything started happening. And I've just finished setting up the smoke machine, and the generator here is running now. So I'm going to get back and test the smoker up. But I just wanted to say, when you're setting up a generator, there's a couple of things you need to do. First of all, find a hollow or something that you can sit it in that's away from the main set, of course, and have a good look at your documentation to see what length of cable you can use. The other thing you need to do is make sure that you've got a metre of clear ground around it with nothing that can catch if it ever happened to spark. Of course, we've got fire extinguishers and trained people and people monitoring it and all that sort of thing as well. All very, very important stuff. And the last bit is, when you're thinking about where to put it around the crew, go and talk to your DOP and see where they're not facing the camera. If there's a direction that they're not going to be facing the camera in, then obviously they also won't be facing the boom microphone and the directional microphone. So that way your generator's always behind your directional mic. So I'm back now after 4 days of shooting out in the bush, and I've got to say I've had a lot more exercise than I've had in a long time, and I've talked to some amazing people and I've learnt some really cool stuff. I hope you've liked this video and you found it useful. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe link and click the notify bell so that you see more of these videos coming up and more of my vlogs. Don't forget also click on this nice round subscribe button just here if you want to see a couple more of my videos. I'll put links here and here so that you can go and watch those as well. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.